What's happening, traders? Welcome back to another video. It's currently 3 minutes to 3 and we're going to be jumping onto the charts in a second to see if we can find a silver bullet setup on the S&P 500. Let's go. Alright then guys, so just before we jump in down to the 1 minute, we're just going to have a look at what price has been doing today, which may give us an idea of an indication of where price may be going. So obviously you can see today, this is the weekly chart, and what we were looking at the other day was this weekly candle flipping bearish. Okay, and that's where we got our winner on the previous ICT video. So if you haven't already, go check that out. And in that video as well, I give some examples of the strategy. I'm not going to do that in today's video. We're just going to try and find the strategy, try and find the setup and trade it. But since then, we've actually pushed up bullish again, which is fine. And that's been going on for the last, well, today definitely has been a bullish day. So we're going down slowly into the different time frames to see what we've got. Now, what is happening here is obviously we've been in a downward trend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We're actually breaking above this previous high here. This is on the 4-hour chart. Now, this isn't to say that this isn't a liquidity grab before we push down. It could well be, and we could further push down, or we could be making a new high and potentially changing the trend and continuing to the upside. So that's the 4-hour analysis. The 1 hour, we've had big news today, which created this big bullish move up. Now, if you watch the last video, you'll see the reaction that this news had on our gold trade, which was fantastic. But with this one, we are looking pretty bullish today after that news, and we have had the 230 volume as well, the New York Stock Exchange. That has also pushed us up. So we're looking very bullish, and potentially we could be looking for bullish continuation in today's setup. But we'll just have to wait and see what we get. This is the 59-minute candle. We're waiting for the 3-minute, and at that point, then we are going to get triggered into our 3-hour window where we're going to be looking for the setup. So how long have we got now? We've got quite literally 20 seconds, and then we're going to have our first candle printed in the window. So I'll come back when that's come, and then hopefully look, what we're going to be looking for then is a fair value gap, the first fair value gap created, to then potentially take our trade from. Okay, so that first candle is being printed currently. Okay, now we're in quite an interesting situation because we've had a big extension to the upside, and we could be looking for a small pullback shortly. Now, if we do get a small pullback and then a bullish candle with a fair value gap, that could be a really nice looking setup. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Now, we actually have quite a few fair value gaps here, but we're going to be looking for one that appears after the 3 o'clock, okay? We're not going to pay too much attention to these. We're going to be looking for the next fair value gap, which appears, which hopefully will be in like a few candles or so when we work out what direction we want to go in. This could be a short trade if we can get a pullback here. We're just going to have to wait and see. In a minute, I also want to show you the example that we took yesterday. I wasn't able to film it because I was out and about, but we took it a really nice trade yesterday, won that trade. I did put it in the Discord and I did put it on our Instagram. So if you haven't followed those already, go check them out. The links are in the description. But I will look at that trade shortly. In fact, I might throw that in here while we're waiting. So we'll be back in a sec. Here's yesterday's trade. As you can see, we had the 3 o'clock candle appear. We then had a bearish move down, which created this fair value gap. Price then came up in, and obviously we've been in a downward trend for a while. Price then came back into the gap, triggers into the trade. We did come back up to break even a couple of times before eventually volume came in and took us out. So that was yesterday's trade. Fantastic. That's what we're looking for today. Something similar to that. So let's go back to current day or current price, whatever, and see what's going on. So we're definitely bullish today. We've got a fair value gap here, which is from the 3-hour candle. We haven't tagged into this candle yet. And we're just going to wait to see what happens. I'm not necessarily going to take a trade on this first candle, but we'll just have to see. I'm going to watch this for a bit and then come back if we've got a bit of bit more interesting price action. So we've come back into this fair value gap here, but I'm not. I don't really want to take the trade off of this fair value gap. It could be the right trade. It could be the right gap. You know, we have had that first fair value gap created, but it's on the first candle. I'm not a big fan of that. So I think we're going to wait to see if we get one from a pullback, because we are basically having a bit of a liquidity grab off the top of, there is a high over here somewhere, off of this high. Okay, you can see we've just picked up above there and we're coming back. We're due a bit of a pullback anyway. So let's see how these candles can form. If we can get sort of like a fair value gap here, then another push down, we can look for our sell trade. Because currently, if we were to have entered this trade, we would have been in the trade already. Our stop would be below this candle here, and we'd be going for a 1 to 2, which is just something like so. So it'd be a very low risk trade, and it could be the one that we wanted, but I've seen this in the past, and it hasn't always worked out. So we've still got a long time for the hour to continue yet, so we want to just see if we can get the best trade possible. So I'm going to come back again when we have some more info, and see how this goes. Okay, so we've pushed down, and if we had taken that trade off of this fair value gap, we would have lost. I've got 7 seconds left on this candle, which may create or may not create a fair value gap around here. So I'm going to get rid of this one here just to clean things up. Okay. Now, if this candle fills the gap, which it's just done, there's still no trade yet. And to be honest, at this point, we could get anything. We could have a push up from here now, create a gap, or we could have a push down, create a gap. But we're probably going to get a gap in the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, I guess, or so. Or it could take 15 minutes, who knows. I have to be somewhere at 3:30. It's not very far. I have to be downstairs in my building at 3:30. So if we don't get a setup before then, there may not be a video today. We may not even get a trade. So we just have to wait and see. Okay, so a fair value gap has been created. Now, if this next candle doesn't fill it in, okay, because if this candle pushes up and fills it in, it doesn't count. I want this candle to close down here, pull back into this candle, and then this fair value gap, and then we can look for sales from there. This is looking promising because we are kind of created a new lower high here on the lower time frames. So if we do push down without closing this gap, then we could be looking for the sales to fill in these gaps down here, potentially come down to this high volume area to then react and push up. But okay, so the gap is still valid there. Oh, maybe not. We got some craziness going on. So we've got a fair value gap right there. Okay, this candle's going to close out in 8 seconds, and I think that we are looking for downward momentum today. So we're just going to wait and see what happens. This is big moves. 2, 1. We've closed there. Okay, we've created another fair value gap. So if this candle comes up to reach this, then that's going to be fantastic, or fills this one in. Or if the next candles do whatever, we're going to take a trade off of this fair value gap. So still waiting. Patience, patience, patience. Still got 30 seconds left on this candle. Okay, so that fair value gap's got filled in now. So we're looking for a trade off of this fair value gap here. Okay, if we tag in, there we go. I'm taking the short. All right, the short has been taken. We actually got in here because price had pushed up. And I'm going to put my stop above this high here for 2.5. And we're going to go for a 1 to 2, which is down there. So we're in the trade. Okay, we've got tagged into this fair value gap. Stop loss is up there. I've got to put this on manually through MetaTrader 4. Stop loss is at 52775. Having a beautiful reaction so far. So we got in just there. Not in the clear yet. We can get rid of this one. But you can see where we had a breaker structure here. Alright, price has come back into that fair value gap. We could have entered here, but actually because price had just shot through, we got a better entry. Stop is now above here. Going for our 1 to 2 down at this point, and we're finishing at 4520.9. So now we wait to see what happens. Okay, so we're having a big push back up into break even. Now remember what happened yesterday, which I showed you earlier. We had a nice reaction, then we did come back up in, nice reaction, come back in, and then eventually we push down. So sometimes it's not an immediate reaction. Sometimes there is a bit of consolidation before price pushes down. Liking the look of this. Okay, if this candle can flip bearish and break out of this low, that's a good sign. And we are getting another reaction from this zone. Now, a nice thing would be for us to break this candle's low now. There it goes. And if we can break this low, that would be the lowest we've been in the trade so far. We've got equal lows on this candle at the moment. Is that going to push through? There's a go. Push through with volume. We're about halfway to our TP. And as you can see, we created a new sort of pattern here. Okay, we've got a new lower low, new lower high, a new lower low, new lower high. Now we're looking for price to create a new lower low and take out our profit down here. We've got fair value gaps down below and a high volume area to the left here. So everything's looking positive. Obviously anything can happen. This is trading, but so far so good. Okay, so we were looking good and now push back up into a break-even area. I've created a fair value gap here as well, which has just been taken out. Volume's coming into the downside now, which is nice. Breaking new lows. If we can break out this new low, that's going to be great. We're going to push. Push. Getting close. Now, no partials on this strategy. I did take a partials on the strategy in the first video. That came back to break even. I'm just going to close this one out in full if we do get down there. Obviously, we're very close, but I'm going to let this bad boy go. We've got a fair value gap to fill here, and I think we're going to take it out. And our stop RTP is about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through that fair value gap. So this next candle's flipped up bullish. If we can flip out bearish now, then we're probably going to get some volume to the downside and maybe break out the low. You're going to flip bearish. There goes the bearish flip. Bit of consolidation on the lower time frames, talking like the seconds here, because this is a 1 minute chart. But again, we're looking good. If you can see here, we've got a new higher low. Sorry, new lower low. So new lower high, new lower low, new lower high. Creating a new lower low now. So we've got a nice trend going on here. Pushing down, creating new lows. We're so close. Now, should I have taken profit there? No. We're going to see if we can get all the way down. Come on. We're so close. Nearly. There we go. Bang. Silver bullet achieved. We have been closed out of the trade. And that is a nice 2% on my account there. Risking 1% up here. Went for a 1 to 2. That thing has just melted. So I'm glad we didn't obviously take that trade on that first candle after looking at this for a long time. That first candle doesn't always give us what we want. Even though the bias is bullish, we waited for a nice fair value gap to get formed, which we took. We actually got a nice entry because volume came through there. And then stop above the high of this sort of lower high here. And the rest is history. So really nice trade there. And so far today with yesterday's trades, we're 4 for 4. If you want to check out the other trades, they are on the last video, which is a vlog style video. But I also trade at the beginning of that before I go and throw myself around on a trampoline. So I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to everyone who's been joining the Discord recently. Thank you for everyone who's been purchasing the merch. The link is in the description down below. And yeah, all the support, all the comments, all the likes, it's amazing, and I really appreciate you, and we're really building a sick community here. So thank you very much. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you here. Have a great day, have a profitable week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.